talk about vegetarians, usually do we think of them as eating grass, like this picture? Or actually, do we realize that there's many variety of food that vegetarians can eat, including all those on the pictures here? So what's the difference between vegetarian and vegan? Vegetarians don't eat meat, but vegans also don't eat animal products like milk, eggs, honey. Why is it important to differentiate them? Because vegan is much more green, environmentally wise. The top category here is vegan at 281 kilometers. This is the equivalent for how much greenhouse gas a vegan produces per year. So compare it to vegetarian. Vegetarian seems surprisingly big. Just milk and eggs would increase that much greenhouse gas, and meat eaters much more. So the message is meat's not green. You can't really see it here, but the important message I want to deliver from here is that meat produces our greenhouse gas. Part of them is from their farts, their poop, which releases a lot of methane, and that's one of the greenhouse gas. And also deforestation and desertification. It takes about 30% of the Earth's land to raise animals for food. That's quite a lot. And the rainforest in Amazon is being cleared just to have enough land to satisfy the demand for meat. Look at how much land a cow needs. So if you ever eat cow, beef burgers and something, you are contributing to a lot of land use wastage. And the others are also quite significant if consumed by a large amount of people, like pigs, consumed mainly by Chinese in China, and there's a lot of people in China. So now we all know about world hunger. Why is it still going on? How would we strive to solve it, especially in face of global warming and climate change, which means sea level will rise, less land to use for farming, less land to use to raise animals. And we are feeding 36% of the grain we grow to animals. That's quite a lot. Might as well feed it to people, because the same amount of land you feed to an animal can feed only one person. The same amount of land can feed a lot more vegetarians and vegans. In 2000, the UN estimated that the greenhouse gas emission from the livestock sector is more than the contribution of the total transportation system of humans combined. So, which one contributes more to global warming? Eating meat. And this is a more important thing. Recent analysis has shown that it's unlikely global temperature rises can be kept below 2 degrees Celsius without a shift in global meat and dairy consumption. This is by Chatham House, December 2014 research paper. And it's too late to depend only on one strategy. I've heard of people telling me that, okay, I'm just wait for people to produce 100% clean energy or some other strategies to help the environment. I don't want to go and take on the hard path on my own. Or maybe I just wait for the plant-based meat that really tastes like meat, or the artificial lab-grown meat. But the fact is that we don't have a lot of time to change climate change. And we need all those strategies together. It's too late to depend only on one strategy. The world has responded too late to climate change. And why is it important to switch to vegetarian as fast as possible? We all release methane through our farts. And this methane is 72 times more effective in trapping heat compared to CO2 in 20 years. Even in 500 years, it's at least 7 times more effective than CO2, but it only lasts in the atmosphere for 9 to 15 years. Whereas CO2, we need to develop technologies to capture them. So this is the fastest way to reduce climate change, to reduce the effect of global warming, so that we can have more time to implement strategies that can help to capture carbon. And also, you might expect from the typical vegetarian talk some graphics images. Industrial meat is evil, so if those of you who has a weak stomach, so you may want to close your eyes for this slide. This is cows being slaughtered, chickens being confined and forced to lay eggs and breed, and their chicks, male chicks, being killed because they are useless in the egg industry. Pigs having to feed their kids in such a horrid situation. Calves thrown by the dairy industry because they're useless. Mother's Day was just not long ago. Why are we only emphasizing on human mothers and not on cows? Their babies are stolen, they are turned into milk machine, and they're killed when they stop producing milk. As Buddhists, or actually as anyone, the first precept of the 5 precepts in Buddhist Ethics, I undertake the training rule to abstain from killing. This is in the law of many countries, to abstain from killing. And in the Buddhist principle, there's 5 conditions to break it. First, there must be a living being. That's a condition. Second, there must be a knowledge that it's a living being. Third, the intention to rise to kill it. Fourth, the taking action to kill it or asking others to kill it on your behalf. 5, the being dies. So, first precept in vegetarianism. Traditionally, Buddha did not require monks, much less lay person, to be vegetarian. It lowers the bar to enter Buddhism, and I agree. I have seen people who hesitate to become a Buddhist because they thought, oh, I must be vegetarian. That's not a good way to reject people from Buddhism. But as Buddhists who are practicing, you are much more encouraged to become a Buddhist. So if you are a Buddhist and you don't need to be a vegetarian, the first precept is interpreted as long as there's no direct killing, meat is allowed. And the Buddha did provide a number of ethical teachings that support vegetarianism. It fits, but most importantly, vegetarianism fits in the practice of compassion for animals and all beings on earth, and wisdom, knowing the interdependence between meat industry and the environment destruction, and choosing wisely. How Buddhism encourages vegetarianism. This is from Vegetarian Society Singapore FAQ, which I also contributed to it. So, first precept is merely the minimum. There's nothing to stop you from progressing more to upgrade into vegetarian, vegan, as you train in loving kindness. Avoid indirect killing too. Second, like livelihood, avoid trading in meat. So, ideally, if everyone on earth is a practicing Buddhist, practicing right livelihood, everyone would naturally become a vegetarian, except for meat from animals who die naturally. So, why are we being a hypocrite by, oh, I don't want to kill, I don't want to become a butcher, but I let others to do long livelihood so that I can satisfy my craving for meat? Sangha. Sangha cannot eat meat if they heard, seen, or suspect that it was killed for them. And there's also 10 kinds of meat that Sangha cannot eat. So this sort of encourages vegetarianism. And Devadatta requests. A lot of people cite this, that Devadatta requested the Buddha near the end of his days that to put vegetarianism as a rule to make all monks, all the Sangha members, to be vegetarian. So the Buddha said, no, it's not compulsory, but he allows each Sangha to choose for themselves. This is the important point I want to make, that is the Buddha did not stop people from being vegetarian. He did not reject it as a movement itself, but he just don't want to force people into it. And so people tend to use this as to bring down people who promote vegetarianism within the Buddhist movement that say, oh, you're like Devadatta. You're behaving like Devadatta, which is a pretty gross misuse, because I'm asking you guys to choose wisely. Look at the number of animals slaughtered in the US. That is in the US alone. There are many more animals slaughtered elsewhere. In China, look at how many people are eating pigs, 1 billion plus. Well, let's look at this movement. Fins are for shots, not for soup. Say no to shark fin soup. Who has say no to shark fin soup? Please raise up your hand. Okay, so if you go to a wedding and they serve shark fin soup in front of you, will you eat it? So same principle applies. If you can do it for shark, why not for all animals and all beings on Earth because of climate change? So sure, eating it doesn't kill the already dead, but it does give the impression to the host that this is welcome. Thus, there's no need to stop or reduce for future demands. So our intention, we have to know that each time we order meat, we have to imagine the animals that was killed, that's being killed, that will be killed because of this order. And knowledge and money is power, and what Spider-Man say? If great power comes great responsibility. It may not be great for you guys, but to the animals that will be killed is quite great. So what is cognitive dissonance? It's saying that I care about animals, but I pay people to kill animals. That's action. And people don't like to watch videos about animal being slaughtered, but it's okay to pay people, butchers, the meat industry to slaughter them. Cognitive dissonance is a jailing person for animal cruelty for running over baby ducklings, but it's okay for millions of baby chicks to be ground out alive and suffocated because of the egg industry. It means that it's okay to talk about bak kut teh, pork meat soup, pork bone soup, but it's not okay to talk about suffering of pigs and how they are killed just because of this craving. It's a mental stress or discomfort experienced by an individual or culture who holds contradictory beliefs, ideas, values, which gives rise to irrational and sometimes maladaptive behavior. So we're coming to number 4, actions. There are 3 levels of actions. Ordering, which I've gone through. Ordering leads to future killing. Current order leads to future killing, and current killing is in anticipate of future demand. But how about paying? Let's say you go out to your friends and every weekend, and this weekend is your turn to pay, and your friends choose to eat non-vegetarian food. Are you somehow contributing to the meat industry as well? Yeah, definitely. Are you brave enough to say that, okay, this weekend, because it's my money, you guys are going to eat vegetarian meals? I think that should be a reasonable way to say it. And third, eating, which I've covered as well. So influence, there are 3 levels of influence as well. You can be a silent vegetarian, which a lot of people are. It's good to have an example and to keep to your principles. And you can also be number 2. This is sort of like paying. So, but this is a pretty high level. Don't try this unless you have developed your training, your motivation until a certain good level. Because it's not really easy to just go to vegetarian restaurant and order it rather than to order the mixed rice store, just order vegetables and rice. Because if you go to customize things from the non-vegetarian stores, you are sort of paying and supporting the stores to exist, which somehow they will also order meat, even though you are not directly contributing to a meat demand. And you can also be number 3 level, voice out actively, using right speech in appropriate settings, by using truth, being harmonious, beneficial, and kind. So results. This is the last one. So will your actions lead to unnecessary future killing? This is the important thing to think about. A lot of times when I talk about the first precept with Buddhists, the important thing that they highlight was that intention. If one eat meat with no intention of killing, then one is sort of not breaking the first precept. But if one eat meat with intention of killing, then one is breaking the first precept. But regardless, the meat is ordered. The result will be there. Is Buddhism a religion that only cares about intention and not about the result? I don't think so. So you have to look at the result. Meat industry, it drives global warming, climate change, disease, leads to disease, extreme disasters, hunger, war for resources. The Syria war is partly fueled by climate change because of long-term drought, and farmers go to the city and government don't know how to handle it, it spiral into a civil war, and refugees from those. Refugees not only from civil war, from sea level rises, and a lot of island nations may be totally gone. Where would they go to? And the worst case scenario, which a lot of environmental news did not cover, which is hydrogen sulfide mass extinction. This has happened many times in the Earth in the past before. So when global warming, the CO2 reaches 1,000 parts per million. Currently now it's about 400 parts per million. The ocean warms and less oxygens go to the bottom. Bacteria that produces hydrogen sulfide takes over the decay at the bottom of the sea, and this gas kills all oxygen-breathing life. When the ocean is filled with this gas, it will start to release the atmosphere, and mass extinction of plants, animals, and humans will occur. We will need gas masks to survive.